Ja Morant's career seems to be in a lot of trouble after getting banned multiple times this year due to his habit of flaunting firearms on social media. The NBA gave him one of the longest breaks ever. Even if he comes back and plays amazingly well, missing 25 games means he won't get the top player award. But it seems he's preparing to leave basketball and train for football. Keep watching until the end of this video to see Put Ja Morant in the NFL because he's banned from the NBA. Ja Morant's biggest online mistake. The Memphis Grizzlies star, Ja Morant, has been drawing attention from people on the internet for all the wrong reasons. Early this year in March, Morant was in a nightclub in Denver when he went on Instagram Live. Going live on Instagram and showing his fans what he was up to was not unusual for him. So imagine everyone's reaction when the basketball player suddenly displayed a firearm in one of his lives. The NBA Council quickly condemned this conduct and banned Morant from playing in 8 games without pay. After this suspension, Morant revealed that he went to get counseling in Florida and said, "So, you know my job now is like I said to be more responsible, more smarter, and don't cause any of that no more." After his apology, he also mentioned abandoning social media altogether to let his actions speak for him. From here, it seems like the young star was able to learn his lesson from his mistakes. However, Morant appears to have quickly forgotten what he learned from his suspension and counseling, because he was seen once again with a firearm in his friend's car on Instagram Live. The video recording of this live quickly spread like wildfire, and the public started dubbing him as a wannabe gangster. This incident happened on May 14th, only 2 months after his first suspension for the same reason. Given that this is Morant's second offense, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver gave him a 25-game ban, accounting for 1/3 of the games played in a season due to his off-court behavior. Adam Silver went on to say that his main concern was, and I quote, "The potential for young people to emulate Ja's conduct is particularly concerning, and that under these circumstances, we believe a 25-game suspension is appropriate and makes clear that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated." The NBA Council also said that Morant has to meet certain conditions before he gets reinstated back into the team after his suspension. Even with his exceptional skills, this behavioral pattern of Ja Morant just might cost him his career and the dream he worked so hard to achieve. Previously, Adam Silver suspended him for 8 games. Repeating the same mistakes soon after warranted a longer suspension, 3 times his initial one. Including his previous penalty, Morant will miss a total of 33 games due to his online actions. He might consider deleting the app altogether. Many might find the suspension harsh, but it's appropriate. Missing 33 games affects Morant's sports and financial prospects. With a recent fine nearing $700,000 and a projected salary of $33.5 million for the season, he'll lose around $30,000 per game. In total, his 25-game suspension might cost him about $7.5 million. It's a hefty price to pay. Last year, Ja Morant was among the NBA's best point guards. Before his suspension, the Grizzlies were a top team in the league. He was expected to receive All-NBA honors. However, due to his 8-game suspension and unfavorable media coverage, he didn't make any All-NBA teams this year. All-NBA selection qualifies a player for a Supermax contract. Because Morant missed out, he couldn't sign the Supermax, costing him an extra $40 million. In total, he's lost nearly $50 million. His image also suffered, impacting potential brand deals. Maintaining a tough image isn't worth the cost. He recently responded to the public discourse with a statement. "I've reflected on my actions and understand their consequences. I apologize to the NBA, the Grizzlies, my team, and to Memphis. I'm sorry to Adam Silver, Zach Kleinman, and Robert Pera for the example I've set for young fans. I will represent our brand with more care and make it right with my supporters. This offseason and suspension will be a time of personal growth for me." Ja Morant and his relationship with violence. Although the Grizzlies star was not seen using firearms for violence in his Instagram lives, there have been multiple reports of violent behavior from the player and his friends. In January 2023, it was reported that after a game between the Indiana Pacers and the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant and some of his acquaintances got into an altercation with members of the Pacers' traveling party. After this, members of the Pacers said that a red laser was pointing at them from an SUV that Morant and his acquaintances were in. They said, "We felt we were in grave danger," because they were sure the laser was attached to a gun. However, this report isn't the only violent incident in which Ja Morant was present. The star can't seem to stay away from trouble because last summer there was a police report placed against him after he beat up a 17-year-old boy after a casual game of basketball they had in front of Morant's house. The reasons behind Morant's actions towards the boy is unclear, but it was probably pretty serious given that Morant punched the boy so hard that it left a large knot on the side of the kid's head. Fighting with a teenage boy over a basketball game sounds ridiculous, especially when you're one of the biggest stars in the NBA, which prompted the police officer working on the case to ask the boy, "So a grown-ass man just hit you in the face? Why?" And this same day, it was reported that he also fought with the head of security at a mall in Memphis. In another incident, Ja Morant's mom was displeased with the behavior and service of an employee from a foot action store in Memphis. Ja Morant's mom then decided to call her son to the scene. Morant allegedly brought several friends to the store and threatened the employee. The employee was so scared of Morant and his company that he hid in the store's back room for an hour. This threatening attitude continues, and Ja Morant seems to like getting into fights with teenagers, because after his sister contacted him about another student she argued with after a volleyball game, his whole family and a few of his friends stormed Houston High School to confront him. Morant and his mother tried to find a way to bypass the cops and get access to the student, but were unsuccessful. All these police reports never resulted in a lawsuit, and no one really held Ja Morant accountable. Morant was able to go on with his basketball career unscathed until his gun controversy. Ja Morant reacting to criticisms. As a rising star in the basketball field, and just like any other public figure, Morant receives a fair share of criticism online. However, Morant has a unique way of dealing with it. In 2022, Ja Morant was a guest on Jimmy Kimmel Live alongside Russell Westbrook, Jalen Green, and many more. They were a part of the show segment where the guests read and react to mean tweets about them. The tweet about Morant said, "Ja Morant need a chill. He be doing dummy. Still a soft-ass bitch made goofy though." Although Morant just made an innocent comment as a response saying, "That really hurt my feelings" in the show, that wasn't the case for another tweet made about him that implied the same thing. Twitter user @DeJesus57 replied to Morant's tweet after the loss of the Memphis Grizzlies. "My bad, didn't know you was pussy whipped." Morant could not hold back in a now-deleted tweet and replied, "It's free to see how hollows feel." Morant's response was obviously criticized, because that usually happens when celebrities fight back against random people on the internet. But the real problem was the intention behind his tweet. Many were quick to point out that the NBA star was probably referring to hollow point ammo in his tweet, an implication and a threat of gun violence toward the fan who commented. And while it's normal to feel negative emotions when criticized, Morant went too far with it if people's assumptions about his tweet were true. So do you guys think Ja Morant will be able to bounce back from his mistakes and continue to be one of the promising stars of the NBA? Join the conversation and let us know in the comments below. Thanks!